Greetings, Earthlings. Today I want to talk about algebra mastery. There are 3 steps that I usually like to think of when talking about algebra mastery. The first step is recognizing when to use algebra. The second is setting up the problem. And the third is the mechanics or the techniques to actually solve the problem. So the way this usually goes for students learning algebra, they'll usually be introduced, so for most of you guys, you'll usually learn how to solve some sort of basic algebra problems. Think of this as some basic technique. So you're now solving the problem. A level above that, you might encounter, let's say, word problems, where you're not given the actual algebra problem, you first have to set up the problem. So in teaching algebra, we often start with step 3, and then we go back to step 2, so you have to set up your own algebra problem. Now, what's a little bit harder than that is, imagine you're given a random set of problems, and some are geometry problems, some are algebra problems. You may not know which are algebra problems. So the skill that you really want to develop that's at the top is recognizing when to even use algebra. So you can't use algebra if you thought this was just a geometry problem or this was just some other non-related, unrelated problem to algebra. So in summary, this is going to be a brief video. You're probably going to start here, solve some sort of basic problem. Then you're going to have word problems where you're going to learn how to first set up a problem. So let's say you have 2x plus 3 is 7. That would be kind of a basic algebra problem. But the word problem might be 3 more than twice the number of Bobby's apples is 7 apples. So that would be the word problem from which you would set up this equation, and then you would solve this. Now, step 1 might be you don't even know that to solve that word problem you should set up an algebra problem. So that's what you want to work on, kind of 3, 2, 1. And as you master some of these basics, so let's say like you can solve many algebra problems, you know how to solve them, you know how to set it up, you know when to use algebra. Then it becomes a lot about learning more techniques to solve harder algebra problems. So you might see, like something like this, but then you might see something like, right, so this is a harder looking algebra problem. Here you have x squared. You might have even crazier stuff, x squared plus y squared is 9, and whatever. They get harder and harder, and there are many techniques. So that's kind of an outline. So what do I want you guys to get out of this video? If you feel you know how to solve the algebra problems you see, ask yourself, are you good at setting them up? And do you know when to use algebra? So for a lot of beginners, the issue tends to be this when. They don't know, a lot of you guys might not know when to even use algebra. So pay attention to that and not just how do you do it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.